Mama's on life support, and none of the doctors would tell me what happened in the operating room. There are now 5 corrupt doctors involved in the cover up. These 5 corrupt doctors had multiple opportunities to save Mama's life. Each opportunity was a clear decision point to either save Mama's life or let Mama die. Each opportunity was accompanied by escalated urgency to act. Mama's life depended on it. At each opportunity, these corrupt doctors, perhaps with help from CEO Christine Schuster and the senior leadership team, including the 2 doctors on the senior leadership team, Dr. Craig L. Best and Dr. Barrett Kitch, board certified in critical care medicine, deliberately and intentionally thrust Mama closer and closer to her death until they finally accomplished their goal. I pointed out Mama's uncontrolled systolic blood pressure in the emergency department, and I was ignored and met with indifference by the emergency department nurse and the arrogant admitting CCU doctor. My valid concerns were dismissed to the point where I had to start an argument with the arrogant admitting CCU doctor over Mama's uncontrolled systolic blood pressure. I won't repeat it here, but the interaction between the emergency department nurse and the arrogant admitting CCU doctor is detailed in Part 2, The Medical Errors in the Emergency Department. I'm an electrical engineer, and I knew Mama's life was at risk for 2 reasons. 1, Mama's systolic blood pressure precipitously fell by 50 plus points in the emergency department 3 times, so common sense strongly suggested that it was bound to happen again. 2, Mama would be sedated during the endoscopy. This was the best opportunity to take action to save Mama's life. The arrogant admitting CCU doctor surely knew this, but didn't give a damn. I estimate that the code was called in the operating room on August 6, 2021, around 4:30 p.m., when unsurprisingly, Mama's systolic blood pressure suddenly dropped to 60. This was now the 4th time Mama's systolic blood pressure dropped by 50 plus points, and the 2nd time Mama's systolic blood pressure dropped to 60. Emerson Hospital started pumping Mama with pressors to raise her systolic blood pressure. I estimate Emerson Hospital raised Mama's systolic blood pressure to 300 in the operating room. There was still time to save Mama's life. Instead of helping Mama, Emerson Hospital was pushing Mama closer and closer to her death with each new IV medication they pumped into Mama's veins. The arrogant admitting CCU doctor cannot argue that he didn't know Mama's systolic blood pressure reading was erroneous in the operating room. Why? He knew not to mention that Mama's systolic blood pressure dropped to 60, so he knew something was wrong when Mama's systolic blood pressure dropped to 60 in the operating room. Not telling me that Mama's systolic blood pressure dropped to 60 was pivotal to the cover-up. That's why all the doctors in the CCU family meeting and CCU Doctor 2 faked their amnesia. Where was the arrogant admitting CCU doctor, and what did he do? He didn't try to save Mama's life. This was the second best opportunity to save Mama's life. Instead, Emerson Hospital deliberately pushes Mama closer to her death. Mama arrived at the CCU on August 6, 2021 at 6:50 p.m. Mama is getting closer to her death, but there's still time for Emerson Hospital to save Mama's life. At this point, only 2 hours and 20 minutes have elapsed since Mama's stroke started. Mama was well within the window for a TPA or other techniques to reduce Mama's systolic blood pressure. Emerson Hospital wouldn't allow me in the CCU to see Mama. They didn't want me to interfere with their scheming. I won't repeat it here, but in part 4, the showdown in the CCU, I detail the interaction when Mama arrived at the CCU. The transport team told CCU Doctor 2 that Mama's systolic blood pressure was 60. CCU Doctor 2 inadvertently told me that he immediately knew the systolic blood pressure reading from the cuff was wrong. There's still time to save Mama's life. On August 6, 2021, at 6:50 p.m., Emerson Hospital could have started life-saving care. This was the third best opportunity to save Mama's life. Instead, there are deliberate discussions among the 5 doctors. Perhaps CEO Christine Schuster and the 2 doctors on the senior leadership team are involved in the chatter. Indeed, one of those 5 doctors would have the professionalism, humanity, compassion, and decency to say, Mrs. Pringle needs our help. We can't let Mrs. Pringle die. Nope, not a single doctor helps Mama. Emerson Hospital didn't give a damn about Mama's life. Mama's life hangs in the balance. CCU Doctor 2 and his co-conspirator thug doctors intentionally avoid taking Mama's correct systolic blood pressure, which would determine which life-saving care to start straight away. The plan was not to take Mama's correct systolic blood pressure so it wouldn't have to be recorded in Mama's medical records. No one orders a CT scan or an MRI. That was all part of the cover-up. Maintaining the secret that Emerson Hospital raised Mama's systolic blood pressure to 272 is more important than saving Mama's life. I'm waiting at the hospital for an update. Emerson Hospital still won't allow me to see Mama in the CCU. Emerson Hospital has its foot on the pedal, intentionally and knowingly accelerating Mama towards her death. Mama is alone in room 404, dying. And Emerson Hospital knows this. Based on the doctor's interaction with me, I can see them high-fiving each other and fist-bumping that Mama is inching closer and closer to her death. Now, 6 hours and 50 minutes have elapsed since Mama's stroke started. Mama slipped outside the window for a TPA, but there was still time to save Mama's life. The deliberate discussions among the corrupt doctors continue unabated. They are determined to cover up what happened in the operating room. All 5 doctors know that their failure to fulfill the oath they took as doctors and render medical care will result in Mama's death. But that's the plan. With each decision point, the premeditated plan was not to render medical care and let Mama die. Mama is no longer a patient. Mama is a problem that Emerson Hospital needs to eliminate. I'm finally allowed in the CCU to see Mama. Nine hours and 51 minutes have elapsed since Mama's stroke started in the operating room. None of the corrupt doctors ordered a CT scan or an MRI. The cover-up is full on. Emerson Hospital deliberately delayed my ability to help Mama by lying to me in the CCU family meeting. I knew something wasn't right. All the doctors have amnesia, and Mama's life is slipping away. I couldn't figure out why Mama was on life support. Let's pause to discuss the sheer absurdity of my last statement. I should not have to figure out why Mama's on life support. That information should have been volunteered. If there was ever a time to over-communicate, that was it. No one will tell me what happened in the operating room. I demanded Emerson Hospital transfer Mama to Massachusetts General Hospital, but supposedly MGH is at capacity. It takes me over an hour to filter through the deception and lies. By the time I forced CCU Doctor 2 to take Mama's systolic blood pressure from her femoral artery, 11 hours and 21 minutes had elapsed since Mama's stroke started. No imaging tests have been ordered. Mama accelerates to her death. Something more sinister is happening. For 11 hours and 21 minutes, the entire time Mama is in the CCU, the doctors know Mama's systolic blood pressure reading from the cuff is wrong, and Mama is on multiple IV medications to raise her systolic blood pressure even higher. Mama's systolic blood pressure of 272 isn't high enough for these corrupt thug doctors. Emerson Hospital doesn't disconnect the IV medications until I force them to take Mama's systolic blood pressure from her femoral artery. Finally, on August 7th, 2021, 11 hours and 21 minutes after Mama's stroke started, a notation on Mama's medical records said, "Drips off." If it wasn't for me, that IV medication would still be connected. I figured it out too late. Mama had already passed away. Mama's death is not an accident. The corrupt Emerson Hospital doctors predetermined Mama's fate. These corrupt doctors executed their premeditated plan with cold-blooded precision, and they almost got away with it. The only thing that mattered to these doctors was covering their deadly tracks, and they had help. Emerson Hospital CEO Christine Schuster, the two doctors on the senior leadership team, Dr. Craig L. Best and Dr. Barrett Kitch, board certified in critical care medicine, Christy Barney, Vice President of Quality and Patient Safety, and Massachusetts General Hospital, put up the white wall of silence to prevent me from discovering Emerson Hospital's crime. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health, led by Robbie Goldstein, Kate Walsh, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and Governor Maura Healey conveniently look the other way. That doesn't work for me. The evil doctors colluded and conspired to kill Mama, and they accomplished their goal. Now Emerson Hospital only had one thing left to do. They smirked about it. Emerson Hospital's corrupt doctors didn't even try to save Mama's life. The cover-up was more important than Mama's life.